Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy.
Goodbye and good night.
Hold two, on bar.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, Lamas covered, three-handle family gradunzel.
Mamma mia.
And now, Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin.
Number 4, armbar.
I will never retire.
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I am your host, Greg Unchained. Today's Tuesday, so you know what that means. Well, you actually probably don't, because we don't normally do shows on Tuesday, but yesterday was Monday, which means it was Summerslam, and the day before that was NXT Takeover. So we're going to do a special episode here to recap those two things before we get into the regular view from the WWE Universe later in the week. Joining me, as ever, when we talk WWE is CJ. How are you, CJ?
I am absolutely fantastic, mate. How about yourself?
You're sounding really amped up for a bloke that got home from work and went straight into watching 7 hours of wrestling.
You have no idea how amped I was to watch 7 hours of wrestling. After the day I've had, I was like, yep, let's do it.
Well, there you go. See, I woke up and I woke up this morning to watch it. Now, for those listening that are in Sweden and Iran and America and UK, we are in Australia and our time zones are all kinds of messed up because whether you guys have daylight savings or we have daylight savings or Raw it almost seems like it's never on at the same time every week. Just as you get used to the time it's on, it's different. So I woke up today for a pre-show. Normally the pre-shows kick off at 8:30 and I told myself this is SummerSlam, so it's probably an hour early, so I'll wake up to make sure I get the show at 7:30 because I'm up late editing podcasts and I was up doing the Impact podcast last night. And I woke up for 7:30. I woke up at 7:20 so that I could get out there, get my coffee, and sit down to watch the kickoff. And I start watching the kickoff, and they're already an hour in. And so I had to double screen with my laptop and the TV and sort of fast forward through on the laptop, looking at what had previously happened and watching the matches and sort of skipping the talky bits.
Yeah.
It was a whole to-do. And by the time I got to the actual show, I was already exhausted. So
I got up at 5 o'clock this morning to get ready for work. And as I was sort of getting ready, I was like, oh, I wonder what the latest news is. And the first thing I do is I open Facebook just after I leave for work as the kickoff was on. I'm like, right. I'm not watching that.
Yes, so it started at 6:30 in the morning here, which, I mean, it would be okay if I was on a regular schedule, but because I'm editing podcasts late at night and scheduling posts and all that sort of thing, it just threw me. It threw me through a loop. But, you know, I got there in the end and I watched the whole show and I got the review up and everything's fine. But let's start with the day before, which was a much better day, in my opinion. I know we shouldn't really compare the two because it's kind of not fair, but NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4. What are your overall thoughts of Takeover?
Takeover could have possibly been what SummerSlam should have been. That is my opinion.
Right. Well, NXT shows are always what WWE shows should be, in my opinion. So, like I said, it's kind of unfair to compare the two.
Not so much comparing, but it's more the whole fact of the creators of WWE, of the main roster, like all the writers and that, need to understand that the crowd want what they want. Yeah. And if they're not fed what they want, they're going to walk away from the product.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll get there with that, but I guess the big thing. So let's start from the top of Takeover and go all the way through each match. We'll go match by match. So Undisputed Era defeat Mustache Mountain and retain the NXT Tag Team Champions. this was immediately opening the show with these two. These two teams have fantastic chemistry. We've talked about it before. I don't think it was as good as their previous match on NXT TV.
No, I think their second match was still their best.
Yeah, that's the one where the crowd were chanting the entire way through it.
Yeah.
And I said it almost broke my B+ scale, but this match was still incredibly good. I still rated it as a B+. It was a fantastic match. The callbacks with the teasing of the towel. Just everything about this match was fantastic.
Yeah, they played it really, really well with this match, and I was quite impressed with how it worked out. I didn't underestimate it at all, because I knew it was going to be a good match, but they took the bar to a whole new level. Yeah,
absolutely. It was, I wouldn't say new level, because like I said, the previous match I think was better, but it was definitely an impressive match. Just the way these guys trade their strikes too. None of them are afraid to lay it in. The NXT product definitely looks harder hitting. The guys just go for broke, just beating the crap out of each other, which is really nice. After the match, the War Raiders attack Undisputed Era and lay them out. I thought that was a little weird because, they're heels, right? Why are you doing a post-match attack against heels?
Could this be the slow way of turning the Undisputed Era into the good guys, maybe?
Well, I guess maybe they're rolling with that. Maybe they're thinking to themselves, look, the crowd keep cheering them because they think they're cool. Maybe we'll pair them up with some monsters and let them play the underdogs for a minute. I don't know. I mean, in NXT, it kind of matters less, I think, than it does on the main roster, who is what. But it just threw me a little, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think having that little moment with War Raiders was really, really good, because it obviously showed us who's next for that.
Yeah, it is always good to know where you're going.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think to have the War Raiders there at the end of that match was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So Velveteen Dream versus EC3, and it all worked out in the end.
It did.
The story was bad.
Story was bad. Promos were bad. The match was probably the best thing in that entire feud.
Yes. It was the worst match on the card. I mean, that's not saying much, though, because the card was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point.
I gave this one a standing O, which is my second highest rating. So, I mean, for me, I'm glad Velveteen Dream got the win. We talked about this on the pre-show. Dream needed the win for this to make sense.
Yeah, it did.
EC3 has been bad throughout this feud, and I kind of want him to sort of, move on. I don't want this to continue. I want one and done. Velveteen Dream goes his own way. EC3 goes his own way.
I think now that Velveteen's got this win, and that EC3 can now go off to his own thing, I think we'll see EC3 now have something with potentially Ricochet or even Adam Cole to help build that little feud a bit more, and have Velveteen Dream potentially go after the NXT title.
I'd like to see Velveteen Dream go after Ricochet. I feel like, because they've only had one match, right? I think that it would be good to have him come back to Ricochet and be like, let's do this again, this time for your title. And Ricochet can be like, look, no, because I beat you. And then Velveteen Dream can get a win over Ricochet, leading to a title match. Because I think
that'd be a good way to do it.
I think that they left a lot in the air. I don't think they went all that they could in their match at the previous takeover, and I'm looking forward to it. But the only thing is, Dream is amazing. He doesn't wrestle on NXT TV. I don't know if you've noticed this.
No, I haven't seen him wrestle in a while, actually.
He doesn't wrestle on TV, man. He only wrestles the takeovers. He's that much of a star. So I don't know if you'd have to give away a match on TV for it to work.
Is he the Brock Lesnar of NXT?
He's the Brock Lesnar of NXT. He's a damn part-timer.
Wow.
No, you know what? I like the way they do that. Having people I think that you could get away on we'll talk about this in the main roster, I suppose. But you could get away half the shows that were on the Summerslam, especially the kickoff stuff, right? Like the tag team title matches, they could have been main events for their respective TV shows. And then you just have the SummerSlam people, like your Kevin Owens and your Braun Strowman, you just have them do angles on Raw, and then they get the matches at the pay-per-views. You know what I mean? I think that's a solid way to book. Yeah. You keep your stars as stars. And Velveteen Dream feels like a star. Everything about this guy screams superstar.
Yeah. Well, that's the good way to do it. Like, to be honest, I didn't even notice he wasn't wrestling.
No.
So that's how good it was.
Yeah. And his promos are fantastic, like when he has the purple smoke and he clicks his fingers and, ambience and all that stuff. You don't need to wrestle on every week, and Velveteen Dream shows that. He hasn't wrestled since the last takeover that I know of. Maybe a tag match. I think he had a tag match, but it's really one of those things where it's a special attraction in a good way, not in a Brock Lesnar way, in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. In the dream way.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking for anyway. I'm hoping he goes back to Ricochet to go after the gold, but I guess we'll see where it goes. Either way, I'm pretty happy. I don't know where EC3 goes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm a little bit unsure with EC3 on where he goes from here.
Like I said, tag team with Kona Reeves. Putting it out there.
Could be the way to do it.
They need more tag teams.
They do. NXT division needs more tag teams.
Then we get Ricochet versus Adam Cole. We've already touched on this briefly. Obviously, Ricochet comes out on top, winning the North American Championship. Really good match. That super kick. Holy wow.
Oh, wow, yes.
I'm going to remember that super kick for the rest of my life.
I think everyone... You know what? That super kick, that actually reminded me of the Shelton Benjamin Shawn Michaels super kick during the King of the Ring tournament back in, I think it was 03 or 04.
Okay.
When Shelton Benjamin came off for a springboard and Shawn caught him midair with a super kick.
Was he upside down?
No. That's why Ricochet is better than Shelton Benjamin.
For anyone who hasn't watched, Ricochet did a springboard moonsault and Adam Cole hit him with the super kick while he was mid moonsault. So at the peak of the rotation, as he's fully upside down, he eats a super kick, and it was brutal. It was insane. They showed it in slow motion afterwards, which kind of exposed it a little, because when you saw it at first, you're like, holy crap, he kicked his head off, right? But then when they show it in slow motion, you very clearly saw his foot hit the neck, which, two things. Don't show it in slow motion, because it exposes the business. A little bit of old school in me. But at the same time, as a fan of the business as the business, I saw that and I was like, these guys have impeccable accuracy and timing. It was so safe.
Yeah, it was. So that's what I got. It was... All of it was just the connection. And I was like, that has incredible timing, because that could have gone so horribly wrong.
Yeah.
That move right there shows that these two are veterans of this industry.
Yeah, it was really impressive. Like when they showed it in slow motion and he hit the target perfectly, and it was right at the peak of the rotation. It was one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever seen in professional wrestling. So
yeah, I'm right with you.
But I even in my review I had it in all caps, because I'm like, he hit the super kick right as he's upside down. It's amazing. And then again, they lay into each other with the blows. Ricochet gets the 630, gets the win.
Yep.
I can't imagine the rematch topping this, to be honest with you. But maybe. I always talk about guys getting to that extra gear, and I felt like they both put it to the extra gear. Whereas Ricochet vs. Dream, it didn't hit that extra gear. This one definitely did.
Yeah, I think this one, they definitely hit that extra gear, as you're saying. I think they should just leave it. I don't think there should be a rematch.
Yeah, I think that WWE should do away with the instant rematch clause.
Yeah.
I think you lose the title. I like the way Underworld do it. In Underworld Wrestling, they work on a point system. Chikara do it as well. You work on a point system. And if you lose your title, you lose all your points, you go back to the bottom of the ladder, you got to win again to build yourself back up. I like that. And I would like to see Adam Cole. I mean, Adam Cole, I hope, will be tied up with whatever's going to happen for War Games. So whether it's against British Strong Style or the War Raiders or whatever's happening, maybe British Strong Style and the War Raiders, I imagine Adam Cole's going to be involved in something for War Games. And so
you'd have to.
Having the title on Ricochet, like I said, hopefully that goes back to Dream and we can move forward that way.
Yeah, I'd like to see Dream vs. Ricochet again, because they do have good chemistry. And I just think, yeah, as we said earlier, there's unfinished business.
Yeah, there's more stories to tell there. Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane. Again, incredible match. This is, got at least 3 match of the year contenders for me on this show, but...
See, I think that's where we differ at this point.
Really?
I wasn't a huge fan of this match. If I was to give it like an out of 5-star rating, I'd probably give it 4, to be honest.
All right, you Meltzer mark. 4, as if 4's not good. 4 is a good rating.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not... See, I rated Adam Cole and Ricochet like 4.9 to the extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a harsh critic, but that's how I saw it.
Right. I thought this match was fantastic. Baszler holding the choke on the ropes for the 4 count, and then Kairi's doing the same thing. When she got the anchor on the ropes, I thought that was amazing. And ultimately, she gets a roll through and gets the pinfall on a roll through, meaning that there is still more for them to do. Even though this is the 3rd match, and NXT, like the 3-match structure, much like 205 Live do, there's more to go, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think there's more to go, without a doubt. Potentially, we could see another build-up towards War Games, maybe, which I would like to see.
The title has to be defended at Evolution as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But I would imagine that Baszler's going to be... No, she won't be. I was going to say maybe Baszler will be doing something with Ronda, but Ronda's a champ too now, which we'll get to, so I suppose they're both going to have to defend their titles. I imagine they will have an angle or something, but...
They'll have something there.
Yeah. I actually thought that with Baszler losing here, I thought that she would still have a rematch probably at War Games, but I assumed that she would be going up to the main roster and would be cornering. I thought she would be cornering for Ronda.
See, I thought that too. We were both wrong.
Yeah, we were. And it was terrible. All right, moving on. We had Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, main event for the NXT Championship. We both thought Johnny Gargano was going to walk out with the strap.
Yes. And he nearly
did not. He did not. He dislocated his knee, which you think was a shoot, but I'm pretty sure it was a work. I watched it 3 times. It didn't look hurt to me.
See, when I watched it back probably 5 or 6 times before I could take a really close look at it. And seeing how his knee connected with that box, I am 80% sure that his kneecap moved something severe to the point where it looked like horrible. And I've been in that predicament where your kneecap can move and it is painful. You don't walk.
Yeah.
So either Johnny Gargano is extremely good at acting or that really hurt him.
Right. Well, I think that it was. I mean, I'm sure he was hurt, but I don't think it was an injury. I don't know. Maybe. I guess we'll find out. But we haven't heard anything since. Well, surely we would have heard by now if it was an injury.
Yeah. You're right. Like if he was actually completely injured, we would have heard something.
Yeah. So, but Ciampa gets the win by he's down and he rolls off the stage. So he's handcuffed to the production fence on the stage. And Gargano hits the running knee into the fence. Gargano eats some boxes and falls to the floor off the stage. And then they're both down while the ref counts. Ciampa rolls off the stage, getting to his feet, which they'd foreshadowed earlier when he was in the corner in the ring. And the commentators made sure to point out that's an interesting way to get to your feet. Good foreshadowing there, because that's how you won the match. The commentary team did a fantastic job this night as well. But
they did.
Yeah. Ciampa gets to his feet and still NXT World Champion Tommaso Ciampa. The drama in this match was high.
It was very good. Like there was so much intensity in this match that normally a lot of times I'm not sitting on the edge of my chair, but for this match I was like almost on my desk watching this match.
No, I was in a recliner and I was nice and relaxed, but I was still excited. Don't get me wrong. It was definitely the drama was high. Like I said, there was lots of callbacks, and it wasn't like their last match where the callbacks felt very ham-fisted, and the announcers kind of oversold a lot of the callbacks. Like, he's got the crutch, and the crutch was this back then, and, you know, it was kind of a little bit too much. This time around, they let it breathe a little on the announcing, which was nice. They let the moments happen, and they didn't oversell it, and so it didn't feel like they were beating us over the head with the past. But there were definite callbacks. They had the crutch again. They exposed the ring again. They exposed the concrete. And they mentioned this is all stuff that's happened before, but they didn't harp on it. And they just sort of let it happen, let it breathe, and then they returned to the spots later. And it was a really fun but dramatic match.
It was good. And to be honest, I love how they were able to tell so much of a story by pretty much doing the same stuff they've done previously. I mean, it added to the character of the whole thing.
Yeah. And I just wanted to talk about as well Johnny Gargano's gear and the way it played into the story. You'll notice at the last takeover he dressed as Captain America. He had Captain America inspired gear. And Captain America is a soldier who always does the right thing. Right?
Yep.
That's Johnny Gargano. Come this time, he's talked about letting his dark side out, and now he's Venom. Venom is also a soldier who does what needs to be done to get the job done. Johnny Gargano tried that, and it didn't work for him. The Venom suit is toxic to him, much like it was to a Peter Parker. He's too pure of heart. He can't win that way. There is another story here, and I imagine he'll have Spider-Man inspired. Unless I'm reading too much into it and he's just like, the movies are out at the moment and I like Avengers, and then a couple months later I like Venom because the Venom movie's out. Like, that's probably what it is. But
That's
to me as a complete nerd, I read into it, and because of the characters, and those are both characters that I really love too, so it had a little extra layer of significance for me. And it's those kinds of things that I love about wrestling, is the little untold stories beneath the stories that really add to it.
Yeah, and I'm right with you. Like, as soon as I saw that jacket, I was like, hang on, that's not normally the attire he wears. That's a little bit different. Are we going to see something new?
Yeah, it was a badass looking jacket too.
Oh yeah, I want it.
Yeah, we saw something new, but like Triple H said on the post-show stream on Facebook, he said, you know, not everyone can handle that. Not everyone can harness that dark side for winning. You know, some people do, and they have great careers doing that, and some people try it and it doesn't work. And Johnny tried it tonight, and we saw it. It just didn't work out for him. And I think that's going to be the case moving forward. I don't think he can go back to this place. I think he needs to find his way back to the light. It's your classic monomyth for anyone who's familiar with Joseph Campbell and his sort of narratological breakdown of, I'm getting academic here, his narratological breakdown of the standard mythology. He basically has this theory that all mythology is one story, and he calls it the monomyth or the hero myth. And yeah, I don't want to go too into it, but essentially it delves, you got to delve into the underworld, you got to fight the darkest version of yourself, and then you re-emerge into the light with something new that will help you conquer the day. That's what's happened here with Johnny Gargano.
That's very interesting, actually.
It's a very, very... This story that they've told with Johnny Gargano, if it goes the way I think it's going, it's been such a well-told story, and it adheres to the classic monomyth, and those stories are never bad, you know? I mean, the monomyth was explicitly the inspiration for Star Wars, so...
Okay, you saying that, I'm definitely going to have to go check this out.
Yeah, definitely. I'll link you a documentary to it. I won't link it in the show notes unless people ask me for it, man. If people ask me for it, I'll edit it in. But yeah, there's documentaries and stuff. It's definitely worth looking into, especially if you're a fan of storytelling. Now, let's move on to SummerSlam. So that's NXT Takeover done. Overall, I actually thought it was probably the best takeover. It's up there. It's pretty hard. It's a hard call to say. Takeovers are one of those things too where, you know, people get raided from the roster to go up to the main show, and you're always left wondering. You're always left wondering, how can they keep going? How can they top it? But they manage to do it
pretty much every time.
They manage to do it every time. Takeovers just keep getting better. This one was really good, and going into it, I didn't think it was going to be that great. Yeah,
like I said earlier, the WWE writers for the main show need to start looking at what takeovers are doing.
Yeah, even just what 205 Live's doing. But let's move on. So SummerSlam itself, 7 hours of wrestling goodness. Oh my. Okay, so let's just look at the pre-show as a whole. Not a lot happened. It's basically a lot of hype videos and what have you. And then we had 3 matches, all of which, as I said, would have been better served to be on TV and save us some damn time. 7 hours is too long for a show.
It is.
Let's start with that. It's too long, WWE. I don't understand the thinking. There can't be a person alive who enjoys watching 7 hours of this.
Well, to be honest, I like it. I prefer 7 hours when it comes to WrestleMania. That's where it needs to say 7 hours. Everything else, go back down to your 3 or 4.
4 for me is the absolute maximum.
Yeah, 1 hour for your pre-show.
WrestleMania, sure, but you can make an exception once a year for WrestleMania. But I mean, if All In goes beyond 4 hours, I don't think it's going to be good, even though it's All In. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where like there's only so much, because pro wrestling is a draining thing if it's done well. If it's done well, it's emotionally draining. Just watching it is exhausting because you're invested.
No, that's exactly right.
And I don't know, just for me, I found myself right around the 4 hour mark, just being like, I kind of want to tap out now. I got back into it at the end, but it definitely got harder. And I feel like I'm not alone in that. I feel like a lot of people are thinking it. And I don't know what the strategy is here. I guess to me, it seems like they're just doing content for content's sake. Like, why is Raw 3 hours? Why are your pay-per-views 7 hours? It doesn't need to be that long.
No, I think you're right. I think they're just doing content for content because of the new TV deals.
Right.
To be honest, that's all I'd think about it.
It's so weird to me. I like the strategy of, look, we're going to put out a bunch of content and there's going to be something in there for everyone, right? But it's just that because I'm doing the website and I have to watch all of it, it's a little exhausting. So let's get into it. Almas and Vega defeat Rusev and Lana by pinfall. Now, I know you didn't watch the pre-show, so
yeah,
I'll run you through it. Essentially, it was the same matches that they have on TV. Vega and Lana are terrible. And Vega gets a win with a pin by putting her feet on the ropes.
Classic heel move.
Yeah, but seriously, when Lana and Vega were in the ring, it was borderline unwatchable. Because of how good women's wrestling is now in WWE. I mean, if this was 2004, you wouldn't bat an eye at this match. You'd be like, this was a good match for what it was.
True, yeah. That's exactly right.
But now we have, Sasha and Bayley versus the Riot Squad headlining Raw, and then you watch this, and you're like, those two women should not be in a ring.
Yeah, I think, as a lot of people have been saying, they need to stay managers.
Well, no, this isn't a kick on them. Like, if they want to be wrestlers, go for it, girl. Get it. Head down to NXT and get it. Because with the time, like, they are improving, but you need to really be in that performance center every day to get it.
That's exactly right.
You can't be on the road doing it in matches.
Yeah, I don't think either of them can learn by actually being on the show. I think you're right. I think they need to take a step away, go back to the performance center, train their heart out for 6 months, and come back. They're
both athletic, charismatic, fantastic women who have something to offer the show.
Yeah.
And they could be great wrestlers if they had the time to train properly. But and I'm not saying they're not trained properly either, or that they're not dedicating the time or anything like that. I'm just saying that being on the main roster has all these other demands. You're doing media appearances, and you still have to find time to get to the gym just to keep your body looking good. You got to be eating right. You got travel, hotels, all of this stuff, and then you throw in all the press and game day stuff and makeup for 4 hours, all that stuff.
Yeah,
you're not going to have the time. Whereas when you're in the performance center, you see the videos of them training at the performance center, and they're just messy ponytail, gray shirt, rolling, and they it's a day job, training, and that's what you need to get on the level of the women that we see on TV now.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Then you had Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight Championship. Boo! I wish this was on 205 Live. They would have done a better job. We wouldn't have had the picture-in-picture ads, and we wouldn't have had the ads for the network breaking up the match. I don't know if I was just grumpy. I don't know if I was just grumpy because I woke up early and the match was about to start, and I'm like, why is this on now? I don't know what it was, but it just wasn't what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I'm right with you. But didn't I call you a couple of weeks ago? I said it was going to be on the pre-show. I knew it. This actually annoys me so bad. These guys could have done something so much better on the main show. Either give them the main show or put them back on 205. Yeah, that's where those title matches need to take place.
In terms of time, you shave 20 minutes off the show, which is a benefit for everyone because now it's 6.5 hours. And then, you get a really good half an hour main event for 205 Live. This did not need to be on this show. It would have been better served for everyone if it was on a main event of 205 Live. But, it is what it is. Alexander gets the win with a roll-up. Then we had B-Team versus Revival. The B-Team won. So, as Bad Luck Fale would say, fuck them.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, they were building Revival so much to have them job to B-Team.
It was just stupid shenanigan bullshit. People on the apron, gets pushed over, reverses the pin leverage by tripping over his own teammate, and they win. It was a stupid match. It was a stupid outcome. Top guys doing top guy things deserve better. I want to see them walk out on their contracts, take the lawsuit, and go to All In. That's what I want.
Yeah.
The Revival deserve better. Anyway, SummerSlam proper starts. The show opens with a really cool video promo from Terry Crews.
I love that. That was really cool.
Like, what the fuck is Terry Crews doing here promoting SummerSlam? It was nice.
It wasn't that nice change. Like, it wasn't some modern rap star that no one could understand how they were talking. It was Terry Crews. It was this big muscly dude that was like, I am a gritty little bear.
9-9?
9-9?
I'm a big fan of Terry Crews, though, for real. So I liked it. It was just so random. It just seemed really random. And I'm like,
it worked.
Good for you, Terry. Get that payday, you know?
Yeah.
Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler opened the show for the Intercontinental Championship. What did you think of this one?
I loved this match. I think having Dean there as that equalizer made everything so much better for that match.
Yeah, it kept the match clean. I think that it didn't really suit Dean's character too much because he's supposed to be this lunatic fringe. He's supposed to be angry and crazy, and how are you going to stand at ringside for 15 minutes? Don't you want to hurt people? Like, I don't know. But it was definitely, it was a really good match. It was probably the match of the night, to be honest with you.
No, I'm right.
No, actually it wasn't. No, never mind. I just looked at what came later and I'm like, no, that's a stupid thing to say. I'm just being negative. But it was a really good match.
No, to me, I think this was this was up there in my top 3. Actually, this was in my top 3 for the entire weekend, to be honest.
It was the third best match of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have really good chemistry when they get in there, these two. Like, you can't deny it. And having Ambrose at ringside to be that equalizer to stop the interference from happening, because that's all he did, really. He was just the spoiler for McIntyre. Anytime McIntyre looked like he was going to get involved, Ambrose countered it, and it kept the match nice and clean, and that allowed Seth Rollins to get the victory. Really nice, really good stuff, really solid storytelling top to bottom. That's
exactly right. And there's some really decent spots in there too, like the DDT on the apron, which looked like that really hurt. Some really, really nice spots.
Yeah. Then we got Nikki and Brie backstage being interviewed by Renee Young. She asks them about being at Evolution. They list off all the things they're doing with Total Divas and Birdie B and Total Bellas and et cetera, et cetera. And then they talk about just wanting to have fun tonight, and they're here to watch Ronda, so they're going to be in the front row. And I'm like, oh, they're setting something up here for Ronda Rousey for Evolution, potentially.
Potentially. I've heard the rumors. I would like to see Nikki Bella and Ronda go at it. That would be cool. Yeah. But I'm pretty biased with that as well, as I don't want to see that for the title.
Yeah. Well, we know that the titles have to be on the line at Evolution. So, I mean, spoiler-wise, at NXT, they aired a graphic that showed, before the show, apparently they aired a graphic that had Alexa Bliss and Trish Stratus, and I'm like, well, that's definitely not going to be for the title, so now I know for sure Ronda's winning. Thanks a lot. But, you know, it is what it is. We've talked about spoilers before. These things happen.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the rumors are that Nikki and Ronda will be working. I think that makes more sense as a title match anyway. But...
See, I know it does make sense. I just don't want to see it.
Yeah, I understand that, because she hasn't had a match in how long?
Yeah.
But then we get New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers, SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships on the line.
I enjoyed this match.
It was a fun match. There was some good spots.
Can I just say, Xavier Woods was the MVP of this match.
Xavier Woods is... a regular MVP. He's grown so much.
Yeah.
Since making his debut, I mean, I didn't really see a lot of his stuff when he was in Impact and what have you, but making his debut as just some guy dancing with R-Truth to now, he's come a long, long way.
He has changed a lot, yes. But everything that he was taking, the bumps that he was taking, and just everything in general, he was just... I don't know. I found him to be one of the better guys for this match.
Yeah, absolutely. I find all of the New Day guys to be really, really good, and that's why I say I want them to go their own way and have their singles successes. The ending brought it down a little to me, so he just came in and beat them with a mallet, basically.
Yeah, that kind of annoyed me.
Rowan just came in. New Day are setting him up, and New Day come in and hit him with a mallet and causes the DQ. And I thought that it really brought it down, because New Day can afford to lose clean at this point. and it should have just been a clean retain the titles and move on. If this means that we're going to get another one of these matches, I don't really want it.
No, I think they're building to help. The next pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is building into that.
But there's too many feuds that already need Hell in a Cell. I mean, AJ and Joe has got to be in a cell, right?
Yeah. Well, not
Miz
so
and
much
Daniel
being
Bryan.
in a cell, not so much being in a cell, being on that pay-per-view.
Yeah, true. Well, I don't want that. I would have preferred to have them go their own way, get one of the others, because SmackDown actually have a tag team division. So I want New Day to really go and look at single stuff and then have, I don't know, it annoyed me. The ending annoyed me. I would have rather seen New Day put them over clean, but it is what it is. Then we get Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens in a surprise squash match.
Yeah, who saw that coming?
No one.
No.
A lot of people thought that Kevin Owens was potentially going to win. But
Yeah, well... Sorry, go on.
he got in no offense.
No, not at all.
One kick, I think it was. One kick to the gut.
Like that would actually do anything to Braun, but still. But no, I'm right with you. Like, I was talking to friends like last night prior to SummerSlam, and they were all saying Kevin Owens is walking out Universal Champion. They were adamant about it. They were like, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
And then at squash match, I got a message about 10 seconds later, and they were like, yeah, I take back everything I said.
Right. I've seen a lot of people very upset about this online. Oh, they're ruining Kevin Owens. It's Braun Strowman, dude. It's Braun Strowman.
No,
Losing clean, quickly to Braun Strowman does not hurt you, especially when you're Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is so good at getting his heat back. He's like a Jericho. He's like a Miz. He can lose, and get his heat back. You can't do it forever. At a certain point, you have to get some wins under your belt so that you can look legitimate, right? But now you can have Kevin Owens turn around and blame Jinder Mahal. Like, you didn't prepare me enough. Your stupid breathing exercises did nothing. And then he can have a couple of squash matches with Jinder Mahal to remind us that he is actually a tough guy that can fight. You know what I mean? That's
actually really logical. I like the way you've done that.
Kevin Owens is a really easy guy to book for, to be honest with you. And
sure.
He's always going to get himself over no matter what they give him anyway. So I'm not worried about Kevin Owens for 1 second. People being like, oh, this is stupid. I wish he'd just go back to the indies. You're an idiot. You're a mark. I'm sorry to offend you. Please keep listening to the show. But for real, he's going to be fine. And he's signed a 5-year deal. They see big things for Kevin Owens. But it's Braun Strowman, man. It's Braun Strowman.
That's exactly how I see it too. As soon as he came up clean with that quick loss, I was kind of like, yeah, all right, no worries.
Yeah, and it's obviously keeping Braun nice and fresh for later in the night.
Yeah.
Right? So I saw a really nice tweet about it that was like, we need to thank Kevin Owens for not putting up too much of a fight because it enabled Braun Strowman to come out and get involved in the last match. Whereas if Kevin Owens had really taken him to the limit and really chosen to do what Kevin Owens can do, then we wouldn't have gotten that in the main event and it wouldn't have been as good.
No, that's exactly right.
So I guess what I'm saying is, from everyone here at the B+, thank you, Kevin Owens.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Carmella versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch.
This surprised me, like, way too much.
Everyone's saying that, and I'm like, told y'all Carmella can work.
Well, it's not so much Carmella working. It was the outcome.
Oh, okay.
The outcome got me. Because
I thought you were saying you were surprised at the match quality, because it was a very good match, and I've seen a lot of people be surprised that this match was as good as it was.
No, it wasn't so much that the quality of the match. I mean, I know Carmella can work. We've all seen it. I just don't like watching it. I'm probably biased about that. Because to me it does... I know WWE are playing on that part, but she does remind me of the old Diva days, which I didn't enjoy. Yeah. So... seeing her working like this, it was really good. There was probably too much talking on her behalf during the match, which is how she gets her heat.
Yeah, I did think the same. Yeah, she did talk a lot. Not as much as Ronda, though. Ronda was the worst.
That's another topic. I'm going to get onto that later.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. So...
Are you ready?
Oh. Oh, I'm going to cry. Like, every time I hear that. I'm like, is this Triple H again? Are you sure you're not Triple H wrestling Alexa Bliss? Like, but yeah, back to the SmackDown women's match.
Yeah, sorry.
It was this outcome that totally blew me away. After the match, I wasn't surprised at that, but it was the outcome of Charlotte going over the top and actually pinning Becky Lynch.
Charlotte wins, lol.
Just, I understand, yes, that she's making history. 7-time champion, big whoop.
Yeah.
Give Becky her moment.
Pissed me off. It really did. I'm going to be honest with you. It pissed me off because then they have Becky turn heel.
Did she
it's
turn
not gonna
heel
work.
really, or was she just frustrated?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, when she attacked, the crowd loved it because that's what they wanted Bayley to do as well, right? With Sasha.
Yep.
They wanted Bayley to attack because they're like, no, you're getting walked all over. You shouldn't take this. Becky's getting walked all over. She's getting her opportunity stolen from her. That is a babyface. But WWE don't see it that way. If you listen to the way the announcers were selling it, right? She betrayed her friend. Her friend won fair and square, and she couldn't handle it. She's a sore loser. She betrayed her friend and attacked. What a vicious attack. Why would you do that? This is the way they were selling it on commentary. That means that in their minds, they're turning Becky Lynch heel. Makes sense as well because the way her makeup and everything was done, it makes sense that that's what they were getting at. But it's not gonna frickin' work. Becky Lynch is lovable. Becky Lynch is relatable.
Yeah. She's just too far over.
We all relate to Becky Lynch. We don't relate to Charlotte. We're not supreme athletes.
I'm certainly not.
We're not the children of superstars, okay? She has had a privileged upbringing. She is genetically gifted, as she likes to tell us, by the way. She is a natural born heel. But you're going to have her, I'm guessing, on SmackDown, you're going to have her crying about the fact that her friend, hurt her feelings and turned on her, and all I wanted to do was do the best that I could. I didn't ask to be put in the match, etc., right? Yeah. And she's going to sell it like she's been so walked all over and betrayed. But the truth is, and the fact of the matter is, Becky is us. She's a fan who doesn't look the part, doesn't, etc., and she's made it and worked hard and made it, right? And Charlotte is not. And so no one is going to buy this story with the way you're selling it. It should have been the other way around. Give Becky the win. Becky wins the match, then Charlotte is all pissed off because she's a spoilt brat, and she attacks Becky, and then have Charlotte take the title at Evolution. Fuck it. Give the company what they want. They want Charlotte to be the champion. Let her be the champion, but just give us 1 month with Becky on top.
Or potentially what we could see, this is going into fantasy booking moment at the moment, but we could actually see Becky comes out, say for example on SmackDown, Charlotte and Becky came out, they have back and forth, and Charlotte comes out with the, well, you know what? What if it was the fact that you didn't just lose, but you lost because I am better than you. I have always been better than you. Right back in NXT, through SmackDown, through Raw, I have been better, and you know it.
Yeah.
And
so you think they could still turn it around and make Charlotte the heel?
I think they can.
Well, I think if they don't, they're idiots because no one is going to buy Becky Lynch as a heel. It's not going to happen. You're going to kill the character. You're going to kill the momentum. And Charlotte will go on her merry way and you'll get what you want from Charlotte. But meanwhile, you've just screwed over Becky Lynch. And it's just stupid. Not that I don't think Becky can work as a heel. I do. But I don't think in this story it works at all.
No, this story just doesn't work.
No, you could have Becky go heel over Sasha. You could have Becky go heel over Bayley. You could have Becky go heel over pretty much anyone but Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that one.
No one likes the chosen one, right? And it's very clear that Charlotte is the chosen one. It's very clear.
Yeah, it's so
We
clear.
all know that they want Charlotte versus Ronda to main event WrestleMania. Yeah. We all know it. Charlotte needs to be the heel.
Yeah, for that match, Charlotte definitely needs to be the heel.
For any match.
But yeah, for any match.
I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned as well, it's a slap in the face because I like to attribute positive intent, right? I like to say, okay, they're clearly just out of touch. They don't know what the fans want. But they proved to us with the main event when they brilliantly used Braun Strowman as a manipulation chip to get the response they want. They proved that they know what the fans want. They just don't give a shit.
Or they're swerving us and they're going to give it to us in a better way.
You want to be charitable and say that they're just out of touch, but they're not, because they show at times that they know exactly how to manipulate us if they want to. It's really frustrating. The booking is frustrating. It upsets me because these talents are all so good.
Yeah.
There is not a person on this show who does not deserve to be at the top of the industry.
No,
Every single one of them can go. And it upsets me because they're given shit to deal with. And it shouldn't be like this.
Yeah.
It just shouldn't be like this. The booking is terrible. But, you know, let's get on with it. Let's look at the
let's put this under a segment of Greg Fired Up.
Yeah, let's look at the two matches that were actually booked perfectly, beginning to end.
Yes.
Samoa Joe and AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. What a match!
Oh, that was amazing. Like I've seen some of the TNA stuff. That was good. This opened more doors for them, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
This is one of the best matches I've ever seen from either of these guys. AJ's match with John Cena and Brock Lesnar was probably better, and Joe's match with Brock Lesnar as well, maybe. But this was right up there with some of the best work that either of these guys have done in their career that I know of.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles. I used to watch him back when he was wrestling way in the beginning of TNA as well.
Yeah.
So I've just always been a fan of AJ. But with him coming out now, this has got to be one of his better matches.
Yeah, see, AJ is a guy who I don't give enough credit in my wrestling fandom, but when I look back at it objectively, I think, oh wow, AJ has actually taken me to a lot of places, because I watched TNA back when they did the weekly pay-per-views, right? And it was the two guys that I really, really vibed with. This is when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And the two guys that I really vibed with were AJ Styles and Amazing Red. Amazing Red because he was my height. AJ Styles, just because I liked everything AJ Styles was doing when he was the X Division champion back then and what have you.
Yeah.
Move on, and TNA kind of became WWE Light. They kept hiring guys that left WWE, and I got bored with it, and I was like, this is crap. Why aren't you pushing Chris Sabin to the moon, right? Like, because I was a 14, 15-year-old mark, and I'm like, Chris Sabin should be your world champion. Why is R-Truth and Raven? I don't understand. I loved Raven, too, to be fair, but anyway. And then I became a New Japan fan when AJ Styles left Impact. I went to New Japan. I was like, oh, hey, AJ Styles is over in Japan. I don't want to watch TNA. So I hadn't watched a lot of stuff from, like, I've watched bits and pieces, but I hadn't watched a lot of stuff. So I became a New Japan fan so that I could follow AJ, you know?
Yeah.
And then when he came back to WWE, I was stoked because I'm like, well, I watch this every week. So
yeah, see, I think if I had actually found a way to watch New Japan when he went over, New Japan would have been a major thing for me.
Yeah, his New Japan work was fantastic, but at the end of the day, I think he's doing his best work in WWE. I think he is a WWE-style wrestler. I think he's fantastic at what he does here.
Yeah.
His stuff with his wife and kid in the audience, and Joe getting on the mic. These guys just thrive at what I think WWE should be doing. And if they don't get to main event Hell in a Cell, god damn it, I'm gonna be pissed. Because the WWE Championship deserves it, they deserve it, and the story deserves it.
Yeah,
they need to main event Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. The only problem is I don't think they will, but they deserve it and they need to do it.
Give Roman Reigns his first defense against someone like, I don't know, Bobby Lashley or Elias, right? Give Roman Reigns his first defense against someone that's not that important, have it be a regular match, and let the Hell in a Cell main event for the WWE Championship happen. Please. Fans deserve it too. It's not just the guys that deserve it. The fans deserve it too, because we sit and we watch this shit.
Yeah,
you know?
That's exactly right. and to be honest, I'm so with you because of the fact that the WWE Championship has not main evented a single pay-per-view since the Universal Championship was announced.
No, and they shit all over it, and it's good. I mean, it gives Miz something to talk about, because he's like, if I was champion, it would be main eventing. It wouldn't, Miz. I'm sorry. I love you. And it's great. It's a great line for your character. It's a great line that you believe that, but it wouldn't main event because the WWE just don't give a shit.
Yeah. But I'm predicting now, and this is a long shot, but AJ Styles will hold on to that WWE Championship for just over 434 days.
Is that what Brock Lesnar had?
Nope, that's what CM Punk had.
Oh, right, yeah, 434. Yeah, I want him to outlast Brock Lesnar's reign. Because they already wiped CM Punk from the book with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but CM Punk is still technically in the books as the longest reigning WWE champion. Not world champion, WWE champion.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, no, I can imagine him wiping CM Punk, but I hope he wipes Brock Lesnar too.
Just do both of them.
I want Joe to have a run, though. I think that Joe's ready, and it's kind of Joe's time, and the Hell in a Cell would be a good place to do it. But I agree with you.
Yeah. I agree with you as well. Like, Joe does need that title. Well, he doesn't need it. He deserves it. For all the work he's done, he deserves that championship. Maybe they have that rubber match where there's an undecided, unclear winner at Hell in a Cell, and then maybe at MCG, there's a clear winner. Because I'm pretty sure MCG puts it closer to 400 days, doesn't it?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm really bad with those sorts of things.
So that's that sort of stuff that I thrive on as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So all I know is that this story is brilliant. The crowd chanting "Who's your daddy" was a nice touch.
That was great.
AJ getting color hard way by accident on the stairs was a nice touch as well. I never like to see the guys get busted open, but sometimes it adds to the story, and it really did here. Because when he got angry, it was like a combination of nobody makes me bleed my own blood, and then also calls themselves daddy to my child.
I didn't understand that at all. It was just like, I got it. I did. But at the same time, I was like, why did you bring it in now?
Because they needed something to push AJ over the edge. Because AJ promised his wife he would do it the right way, right?
Yeah, true.
It comes to that dark side stuff that we talk about with Johnny Gargano. And AJ Styles can go to that dark place sometimes. When he was in the Bullet Club, he was a heel.
Yeah.
He was as the club, too, in WWE. He was a little bit more of a cowardly heel then. But anyway, you can have him... You have him snap, right? So he needed that thing that pushed him over the edge. And that's why when he grabbed his daughter off his wife in the crowd and he was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right? He was telling them that he was sorry because he promised them that he wouldn't go too far.
Yeah.
Right? Because I always feel for the kids that little girl, she would know Joe, right? Like, I'm sure he would be Uncle Joe.
Yeah, more than likely.
Because these guys their careers have echoed each other.
Yeah.
And they've been together from the bingo halls all the way up. So to have her in the crowd and there's Daddy and Uncle Joe just beating the living hell out of each other. That's got to be hard to watch.
It probably would be. I would say that she probably didn't watch half the match. She was probably like in her mum's arms, just kind of had her face buried. I would say that's how half that match went. But at the end, when Joe got on the mic, that's when she brought the daughter forward. And the daughter was probably like, I don't care, you're still both family.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sure they would have told her beforehand and everything. But I always just feel for it when the kids get involved. I'm like, oh, man, you're in touchy territory, which I enjoy. It's a good hesitation that I have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But yeah, essentially the story's not over. We've got another level to go. It's gotten very personal, and the only way to settle it's going to be in a cell. That's got to happen.
Yeah. It really, really needs to happen.
Then we get our WTF moment of the night. So I guess they knew that this match was very dramatic, and they knew that the next match was going to be very dramatic, so they needed a little bit to break it up. So they had Elias come out for a concert. He talks about being a child once, and then he breaks his own guitar.
Yeah, I what?
Yeah, what? That's how I felt. I was like, what? Was he meant to break the guitar?
See, I was expecting maybe like Bobby Lashley just walking up behind him with the screwdriver, just being like, yeah, I undid it. I didn't want to hear
Yeah,
it.
like Bobby Lashley had taken to it with a saw or something to weaken it. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I was expecting. But then when he just stood up, kicked the chair over, threw the guitar down, I was like, was that all?
Or even if they'd cut to the screen and shown backstage Bobby Lashley watching on a monitor and laughing while holding like some tools or something,
Yeah,
like to make it clear that, I don't know. It's to me, it just seemed like, okay, he just broke his guitar, got frustrated. Was that meant to happen? I have no idea what's going on.
At this point as well, are they also looking at doing the whole, instead of who attacked Aleister Black, are they doing the whole who broke Elias's guitar?
You know what? If anyone can make it work, Elias can.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things where if B Team had lost the titles like they were supposed to, they could reinvent themselves again and become detectives and help Elias. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's a gig for them as Elias's roadies, you know? Because B Team have a role to play on the show.
They do.
It's just not with this go, go, go bullshit and beating the fucking Revival. The best tag team in the world, man.
Ooh,
They're losing to the goddamn B Team.
I wouldn't say in the world. Maybe in the WWE.
I'd say it's up there, man. There's an argument to be made.
Definitely up there.
No flips, just fists, brother. All right. Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Oh, wait, that's why I was thinking of B-Team, because we had the B-Team here. The B-Team interacting with Miz. Of course, they used to be the Miz Taraj.
Yep.
So it made sense. It was a nice little segment.
It was funny.
They invite him to be on their new show, Total Fellas.
With a B.
This is Total Bellas. Don't get me wrong. I love the B-Team. I do.
Yes.
But
it was just the perfect moment, and Miz's reaction at the end of it was like, huh? All right.
Well, these are Miz and the B-Team. That's three show-stealing guys. Three scene-stealing guys. They steal the scene whenever they're in it. Not the show necessarily, but...
Yeah.
Then we get Daniel Bryan and The Miz, and this was another one that was just well told beginning to end. Callbacks galore, but once again, they weren't beating you over the head with the callbacks. The callbacks were just there. You had the borrowed moves from The Miz.
I liked that.
All the stuff about the punch in the face. It was a brilliant match. Watch this match. Words can't do it justice. The drama of these two guys after however many years, 8 years that they've been going at it.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
If listeners, if you don't have time to watch SummerSlam, just make the time to watch The Miz versus Daniel Bryan.
And AJ and Joe.
And
Those
AJ
two
and
matches. Back to back, that could have ended the show if the show ended right there and all the other stuff, even though it was advertised, just never happened. I would have been happy.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm right with you.
So, in the end, The Miz gets sent out to ringside. He has a little conference with his missus, and she slips him some brass knuckles. He hits Daniel Bryan with the brass knuckles and gets the win. Yeah. Ironically, he wins by punching Daniel Bryan in the face.
Yeah. But with this whole thing, right, with Brie Bella also being at ringside, was she at ringside for this match, or was she backstage?
No, I don't think so. She was at ringside for the last one, yeah.
Yeah, I think, as much as I don't want it, but I think we're going to see another mixed tag team match with a Bella twin and Maurice.
Yeah. I just hope it doesn't happen at Evolution.
It can't happen at Evolution. It'll be way too unfair.
Let Brie go one-on-one with Maurice at Evolution, and then have a tag match at the next pay-per-view.
Survivor Series.
Or you could even skip Hell in a Cell and do it at Survivor Series.
I think that's what they should do.
Honestly, these pay-per-views are getting too long. I'm okay with you taking Daniel Bryan and Miz off a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that sometimes. Not everyone has to be on every show.
No, that's exactly right.
But yeah, a tag match would be good, and it's a good way to string it out. And then these guys have another interaction in the Rumble, maybe go separate ways so that one of them can win a title and then come back at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but the only downside to this as well that I see is that Survivor Series is after All In.
Yeah.
So potentially that means that Bryan signed again.
Yeah, well, no. So the news came out this week that he's 90% plus likely to re-sign. He said that on Sam Roberts' wrestling podcast, that he's 90+% ready to sign again. There's just a few things they're ironing out. He has a lawyer looking over it for the first time ever. He's normally always just looked at it and signed, but now that they've got a family, he needs to make sure he's getting everything squared away. So he's got a lawyer looking over it. It sounds like he's going to re-sign. There's still the chance that he won't, but
yeah. I'd like it if if the contract broke and then he re-signed it the day after All In. That would make me.
Yeah, I'm all about the story, right? And so when I was talking about I want him to go on this story to find himself, it was sort of like the going back into the underworld thing that I talked about with the monomyth with Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
Right? The indies being the underworld for Daniel Bryan because he loses himself after he loses the match. But for that story that I had in my head, for that to work, he had to lose this match clean. He definitely did not lose the match clean.
No, the story is not over by any chance.
Yeah, no. So I don't think he's going anywhere now. But He might. He was questioning himself after the match as if he'd lost clean. He was asking the questions I would expect him to ask if he lost clean. Like, was Miz right? Maybe, So there is... I think he's leaving it open that he might, but I don't think he will.
No, I think they'll tease it, and they'll do a whole nother CM Punk moment where he'll take 2-3 weeks off, and then he'll be back.
Yeah. Then we get another surprise squash match. This one... the next two matches were basically there to reset you so that you would get hyped up again.
I think these were the bathroom breaks.
Special.
These are just...
Yeah, essentially. So we've got Constable Baron Corbin versus the Demon, Finn Balor.
Yes. I was so glad to see the Demon back. I love this.
I was not.
Oh.
I was not happy. I know that I try to be positive. I really do. Why the hell do you need the Demon to beat Constable Corbin?
It's SummerSlam. I think that's all it is. It's not sort of...
No, that's stupid.
To be honest, I honestly think that's how WWE did it. It was like, it's SummerSlam. You haven't done it since SummerSlam. Do it again.
He didn't do it at WrestleMania.
True.
He didn't do it at the last SummerSlam either. The Demon is what he pulls out when he needs it to win, supposedly. Right?
Yeah.
And you know what, Finn Balor? You need to win more. So why not just be the Demon all the time?
And bring Finn Balor on special occasions?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why he's not the Demon all the time. Because wins and losses don't actually fucking matter on this show. And that's what it says. That's what it says. When you only bring out the Demon for a match that's supposed to be one that you need the Demon to win, right? It's supposed to be that dark side that Johnny Gargano talked about. That's what the Demon is supposed to be. But if you need that against Baron fucking Corbin, then you need to be in a different goddamn line of work.
Oh, wow. I was going to take a step back and just let you go.
Am I crazy?
No.
Am I crazy?
No, you're not. You're right. But it's just funny to hear someone going about it.
You use this against Baron Corbin. You use this against Baron Corbin when you've been 50-50 booked for the last 3 months. If you wanted to get some fucking wins, why weren't you the Demon before?
Oh, okay. I think we're getting way too hyped up about this.
It just makes zero sense. I just want my wrestling to make sense. That's all. That's all. And like I said, I do try to be positive. And overall, the show was entertaining. This whole show was entertaining on the whole.
Yeah.
But it was really, really lifted up by Daniel Bryan, Miz, AJ Styles, and Joe.
Yeah.
It was really lifted up by them. But it just doesn't make sense to me.
I think,
why was the Demon here? Just let Finn Balor fucking win. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I just want to point this out there as well. One thing I've been wanting to mention previously on our podcast was Baron Corbin's music is just too good for him. I think that song needs to be used on someone completely different, not Baron Corbin. I think
I like Baron Corbin. I'm being mean, but it's just because of the role he's in at the moment. He's the authority figure. He's the stooge. Stooge is gonna stooge. See, it's not his fault. He's playing the role. He's doing it well.
Yeah, he is.
I like Baron Corbin.
I'm okay with Baron Corbin, but to me, he reminds me way too much right now of Matt Striker. And I hated Matt Striker because he was this whole, I'm better than everyone, including the authority.
Is it just the vest?
Maybe.
It's just the way he dresses.
Maybe, but it's also the mannerisms. When he's walking
He does
around,
dress very Striker-esque.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know, there's so much about it. And every time I saw Matt Striker on TV, I just wanted to put my hand through the screen. That's how much I hated Matt Striker. I don't
watch Lucha Underground because he's worse on commentary than he ever was.
I would probably watch that on mute. I'm not kidding. Like, he just reminds me right now of Matt Striker. When he was the United States champion and he had that run, I could enjoy his matches. I could enjoy who he was. But right now, get him off my screen. He is my bathroom break. I don't care what anyone says now. He is my bathroom break. That's it.
Yeah. Well, this match, I didn't care about this match going in. And I think the Demon was just a cheap trick because they knew that everyone didn't give a shit about this match.
Yeah.
So they had the Demon come out just to make everyone go, oh, hey, it's the Demon. And that's what happened on Twitter. Everyone was so excited. And I'm like, you're all fucking marks. This is stupid. Makes no sense. But moving on, we have a backstage segment with Daniel Bryan getting looked at in medical. Bree comes in and asks if he's okay.
Yep.
He should have known Maurice would do that. Bree's like, don't get me started on Maurice. This is where what you were talking about comes in. They're clearly going to build to a tag team match. Brian questions if Miz was right, if his comeback is a failure because he didn't fight this hard to come back and lose to Miz like that. And then Brie gives him like a nice little pep speech. These two are so wholesome.
Yeah.
I love their relationship.
It's just,
and
it's just so innocent.
It's just, they're lovable, you know? I love them. I love their love. I love their little family and their stupid dog. I like the whole thing. Total Bellas is a guilty pleasure for me. I enjoy the show.
I'm right with you.
And it's because of Daniel Bryan, to be honest with you. He's just such a top dude.
He is. But
He's such a top dude. And I'll admit it, I've shed many a tear over his journey on Total Bellas.
I think everyone has.
It's fantastic stuff. And honestly, more of these two in their relationship, just her giving him a little pep talk and him being like, oh, all right, thanks, honey. I just need to be alone now. You can go out and enjoy the rest of the show. And they have a little kiss. And it's like, that's so sweet. The whole thing was sweet.
Yeah, it was.
It made me happy. After the demon bullshit, this made me really happy. So there's people listening to this right now being like, you watch wrestling for very different reasons to me.
Definitely. Going from that...
But, you know...
so going on from the demon, let's go to another face-painted, funny-looking person. Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States title.
Right.
I think
the right man wins. Yeah. Nakamura wins.
Definitely. I just think the only good thing that actually came out of this match, two good things that came out of this match for me that were good, was that Swanton Bomb to the apron.
Oh, man, that was brutal.
That looked so painful.
It looked painful. Again, they showed it in slow motion, and you saw clearly he got his arm holding the ropes to slow himself down, and he got onto the shoulder safely. It looked, at full speed, it looked like he hit his neck. In slow motion, you saw it was perfectly safe.
Yeah. So, which, in a sense, I liked the idea, but I didn't like the way they did that. But it just looked painful in general to take a bump on that spot of the ring. That's always painful.
Oh, yeah, I cringed hard.
Oh, yeah.
The most painful part of the ring, I don't know if you know that.
No, that's exactly right.
It's the hardest part of the ring.
But to take that bump on there, that took guts. And the other thing that got me was Jeff screaming, "Come on."
Yeah.
I just laughed. I think I laughed for a solid 10 minutes.
When he mimicked the Shinsuke poses and stuff and did the "come on."
Yeah, I laughed for a solid 10 minutes.
No, it was fun. I think that this match had the unfortunate downside of coming 5+ hours into the show.
Yeah, it would have done better, not straight after the Intercontinental Championship match, but around that section.
It would have done better as a main event on SmackDown. Here's my thing. When you're booking these shows, okay, don't have your world champion wrestle on TV. A lot of people are going to hate me for that, but these stupid, the tag team match because the champion is feuding with this person and this person is feuding with that person, so let's do a tag team match, main event player. That shit's overplayed. It's overdone.
Yeah.
All of that stuff is stupid. The triple threats for the sake of getting them on TV. No. Just give them their angles, give them their promos, like a Hulk Hogan would back in the day. Hulk Hogan used to wrestle like 3 matches a year, you know?
Really?
I mean, I'm probably exaggerating, but yeah, like really, he'd come on TV and he'd talk about saying your prayers and taking your vitamins, and then he'd wrestle once a month.
Yeah. Well, I suppose he was the draw.
Yeah, and that's what you do. You have the champion come out and talk a bit. You have him take photos with the babies and kiss the crowd. You know,
yep.
I said that wrong, but you get what I'm saying.
I was waiting for you to say like something completely different, not kiss the crowd, but like kiss the camera or something. I was like, okay.
But you have them do that stuff, or if they're a heel, you have them come out and say, no one deserves this. I shouldn't even be in this town. You know, be Elias, right? Elias doesn't have to wrestle.
I was about to say, yes, Elias.
Yeah. You know, you just have them do that, and then they have their match at the big show, and they get their sneaky little win somehow, or if they're the babyface, they get their triumphant victory over the conquering heel who's worked hard to get a match with them, and then they move on.
Yeah.
And they rinse and repeat. They don't need to wrestle on every single show. And then you have your minor titles, like your US title, your Intercontinental title, your tag team titles, and they can headline your weekly TV show.
No, I'm right with you on that.
It's not fucking rocket science, man.
You're fired up tonight, aren't you?
Well, I just think that everyone on this show deserves so much better for the most part. Again, like I said, it was a good show, but I know how great it could be.
Yeah.
You know, if everything was done my way.
The Unchained way.
Oh, look. Here's the thing: they're making billions of dollars, so they know what they're doing. But
yeah.
I get upset sometimes, and it's. I don't know. I don't know why I'm so fired up about this in particular, but let's move on. I was bored by that last match, essentially, but it was just because it was 5 hours into the show.
Yeah, I think...
And it was put in the spot where I was supposed to be bored with this match.
Yeah, I think you're right. Move it to the pre-show or earlier on in the match, or just take it off the card completely. It didn't belong where it did.
Yeah. So, I mean, Orton comes out after the match, like I said, right?
Yeah.
They went with the angle where he comes out to do something, but then decides, no, you know what? Shinsuke took care of it. I don't need to. And he turns around and walks away. So I called that one. I don't call them very often, but I called that one.
Yeah, I didn't understand that entire spot. To me,
I imagine he's going to cut a promo about being like, you know, I was going to destroy you, and you know, because he wants to destroy everyone the fans love, right?
Yep.
And so he can come out and he can cut the promo about how he wanted to destroy Jeff Hardy, but he realized that really Jeff Hardy's already a broken man. You know?
Yeah.
And there's nothing he can do because you're already at rock bottom. You know? He didn't need to do it, and it was just a way to get Randy Orton on the screen.
Pretty much.
Then you get Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
How many times did she say, are you ready? She was asking the crowd if they're ready for a Raw Women's Champion. She's asking Alexa Bliss if she's ready to take a fucking bump. Like, what was that about?
I don't understand. Like, I think even commentary commented on it. There's like, oh, she's asking Alexa Bliss if she's ready. Is she ready? Is she ready for the pain? Like, oh gosh.
Yeah. I think it was one of those things where, I mean, look, when you're a rookie in wrestling and you have your first match and then you watch your first match back and people give you notes, right? And so obviously some people have given her notes like, look, you're not vocal enough, right? Like when you're hitting your comeback or whatever, like, because she just sort of scowls and does her thing. And when you're new to it as well, you're really focused on your body movements and all that sort of stuff. So I imagine someone's given her the note of like, you could talk more, like you could be more vocal, whether it's grunts, whether it's
way
talking,
too
whatever.
far.
And then she's just taken that too far. Is what I think has happened, which, you know, it's going to happen when you're a rookie on such a big stage. It's hard. But I still think she did a really good job despite the talking.
See, I was skeptical because to me, all I saw were like 4 variants of 3 different moves. That's what I saw. It was like hip toss, hip toss, hip toss. That's it.
Her judo throws, and that move that she does that with the fireman's carry, I'm really pissed off that the announcers have not given this a move. They're just like, oh, there's that move. It's clearly her finisher. Can we give it a fucking name? I'm calling it the Ronda Coaster. Because someone has to do the job.
The Ronda Coaster. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, because she takes them up for the ride, you know? It's the Ronda Coaster. That's what I call it.
You know what? That's it. That's what we're making it.
Yeah, so she hits the Ronda Coaster twice. And then locks in the armbar, and the armbar's brutal because we know Alexa Bliss is double jointed, so it literally looked like she snapped the damn arm.
Oh, that was so good. The entire crowd at once just goes, ooh. And the people at home are like, it's Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen, but it still looked really painful, and it just needed Lucha Underground put in snap noises in post-production. That's what it needed, the Lucha Underground snap noise, but... Ronda wins the title. We knew it was going to happen. I think, you know, I mean, I held out hope that Alexa would, but then after yesterday's graphic with the Trish Stratus thing, it was pretty much a given Ronda's going to win the title.
See, this is where I was so skeptical about Ronda winning, because to me, I was like, okay, so Alexa's obviously going to lose the championship at some stage because they can't have Alexa go over Trish Stratus in any circumstance. Right, so to me, I was like, all right, so they're going to build to the 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen at Evolution, which is what I think it needs to do, and then from there move on from something else. But in order to have that style of match, they just need to have it. Ronda can't have the title at Evolution. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, no, see, I think you're wrong. I think the 4 Horsewomen versus 4 Horsewomen is going to be Survivor Series main event. I think that at Evolution, because we know that the titles have to be on the line at Evolution. So Ronda's going to have to defend her title, hopefully against Ember Moon, because Ember Moon deserves it, but probably against Nikki Bella. And then we'll have Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler rematch as well, I assume.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, she's owed a rematch.
Yeah,
like I said, I want them to do away with the rematch thing, but it makes sense with WWE that they would do that.
Yeah, no,
because they're going to be crowning a Mae Young Classic finalist at Evolution, and so to have the rematch from the Mae Young Classic finals last time as well would be kind of poetic.
It would be a really good way to do it. But yeah, to me, I just want to see how they do the build. That's the one thing. Because they don't have time to build the 4 Horsewomen versus the 4 Horsewomen.
No, that's got to be Survivor Series. But the thing that annoyed me with this match, because, again, I like to try to be positive, but let's fucking get into it. Why did Natalya get her own entrance?
I think it was in a way of saying, hey, yeah, there's a Neidhart still here.
Well, it's stupid.
To me, I didn't understand it.
Did she play a role in the match?
No.
Was her
Where was Alicia Fox? Where was Mickie James?
Where was Mickie James? So this is what I'm talking about, right? So, and the orders of the entrances was all fucked up. Who comes out last?
Yeah, that was Ronda. Ronda came out last.
No, but in professional wrestling, the champion is supposed to come out last. I'm sorry, but you're introducing first the challenger. That's how it works. The challenger comes out first. It's a sign of respect for the champion. The champion's meant to come out last, but in this case, you had the corner girl for the challenger come out. Then you had the champion come out.
Yeah.
And then you had the challenger come out. It made no goddamn sense.
No,
I don't care how big of a star you think Ronda Rousey is. She's not the champion.
No, I can completely understand that. Star power or not, have the champion come out last.
And look, this is going to get me in trouble too. I don't care whose dad just died. You don't get your own entrance when you're not in the match.
Well,
I'll take the heat. I don't care. It's stupid.
Yeah, no, I can understand where you're coming from. To me, I think it was just a nod at the Anvil.
Right.
I don't understand why she was out for the match. She wasn't on commentary. She didn't have anything to do with the storyline. If she did, why wasn't Alicia Fox there?
Yeah, Mickie James, Alicia Fox, whoever. But Alexa was on her own, like a goddamn face. Like, why was she being the baby face? It makes no sense. Anyway, and then after the match, Natalya gets into the ring and they hug and they raise arms, and I'm like, oh, is it coming? Is there going to be a heel turn? No, she's just raising the arm of her best friend. Fair enough. And then in come the Bellas, and they hug and they raise her arm, and I'm like, oh, are they going to attack? Come on, Nikki, attack. Let's set up the match now. Why not? No, they're just all women. And we're all women, and we're all making history, and we support other women. You know what? This is fucking wrestling. There's supposed to be some goddamn conflict.
See, what I reckon they should have done with this, go into fantasy booking again, have the Bellas there, act as if they're all happy and like all wishing her the best of luck with the championship and whatnot, but then out of nowhere have all 3 of them jump Ronda and being like, you don't belong here. You've only just begun.
Yes.
That should have been how it's gone.
Right? That's better than what I had. What I had in mind was have the Bellas, hold the ropes for Natty and Ronda to get out or whatever, and then have them attack them and push them out to the floor and run them into the steel steps so that we set up a tag match on the way to Evolution.
See, no, I just think they should have just obliterated Ronda.
The 3-on-1 would have been amazing, and that makes Ronda such a super face.
It does, because it's the fact that you've just turned 3 very, very popular people heel.
Well, that's the thing as well with wrestling fans, right? Wrestling fans are, generally speaking, outcasts.
Yeah.
And so to have someone beating up another person saying, you don't belong here, you're instantly going to support that person. Even though Ronda is clearly the chosen one, much like Charlotte Flair, we are going to get behind Ronda because she doesn't belong.
Yeah. Right? See, that's what they should have done.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely, and the whole thing made no sense, and it's condescending to me. It's condescending the way they are treating the women as oh, we all care about history, we all care about each other, we're a sisterhood. That's true behind the scenes, of course. Of course it is, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But this is wrestling, and wrestling centers on conflict, and you can't just be on the same side for the sake of history in wrestling. You would never see Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman do that. You would never see that.
No, that's exactly right.
Even Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who are best friends behind the scenes and have been together through the road, or Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, when they get out there in that ring, they tell their stories which center on personal conflicts.
Yeah. I think...
Again, the match was passable. I'm glad Ronda Rousey is the champion. I think it's the right move, but just the bullshit was bullshit. The bullshit was bullshit. That's the catchphrase for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like, that ending was horrendous. I hated it. Could have been written so much better. But in the end, we got Ronda as the new Raw Women's Champion.
Right. And now let's move on to the show closer, the most brilliantly booked main event in recent memory. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. You think I'm being sarcastic?
No, to be honest, I'm there. I'm with you. This is probably going to be the best build to a Universal Championship match aside from the original tournament.
Yeah, well, it's not hard given that, you know, the Universal Championship has had 3 matches.
No, well, that's exactly right.
No, the great thing about this was, obviously, before the match, you had Braun Strowman come out and straight up say to him, whoever wins, I'm challenging you right now. I'm not going to do it behind your back. I'm not a coward. I'm the monster in the bank, and I do this face to face. So whoever wins right now, they're going to have a match with me straight away.
Yeah.
And everyone in the crowd loved it. Ate it up.
It worked so well. And we have a new chant that I don't think I've ever really heard. Beastie Boy.
Beastie Boy. Beastie Boy. Right, because he called Brock Lesnar Beastie Boy.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Especially because they're in New York as well.
What does that have to do with it?
No Sleep Till Brooklyn?
Yeah, I have no idea.
The Beastie Boys?
Yeah, didn't even know.
The rap group?
Yep, didn't listen to them.
I'm leaving this in just so you know, so that everyone can know how much dumbass you are. Come on, man.
Hey, I grew up in the 90s where, like, my family would listen to, like,
the era of the Beastie Boys?
Yeah, my family didn't listen to the Beastie Boys.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But, you know, it was interesting, the Beastie Boys. To get these hands chants were huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge. Braun Strowman is over as hell. And they used that. They used it to perfection. In the match, Roman Reigns inadvertently took out Braun Strowman, and then Brock Lesnar took advantage, hit him with an F5 on the outside of the ring, a couple of chair shots.
Yeah.
And then after the match, when he returned to the ring, Roman Reigns gets the win. The crowd cheer.
That shocked me.
What do you think they were cheering for?
I think at this point it was the, yay, Lesnar's done, let's have Braun.
Exactly. That's what they were cheering. They were cheering, the Lesnar shit's over, he can leave the ring now, and we can get Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. That's what they were cheering. But WWE, masterful move, they get Roman Reigns up on the corner to pose, and then they turn off the pay-per-view before the crowd can realize that they're not getting what they were just told they were going to get. Yeah. Before the crowd can turn, because I guarantee you the crowd turned once they realized.
Oh, 100%.
Because what they were cheering, WWE got the image they wanted, they got the audio they wanted, but they got it on false pretenses, right? It would be like me getting you to say, tell me you love ice cream.
I love ice cream.
Tell me you hate Nazis.
I hate Nazis.
All right, cool. Now I'm going to cut that and edit it so that you say I love Nazis, okay?
I love Nazis.
And you know what? I got what I wanted, but it was through deception, right? Yeah. That's what WWE did today. It was masterful. They got what they wanted, but we didn't get what we wanted. It was a big fuck you.
But you see, I didn't mind how they did it.
Me.
Main reason was because they need to have that Universal Championship feud for Hell in a Cell. Yes, it could revolve around the cash-in either tomorrow night on Raw, but I reckon the Braun Strowman will come face-to-face with Roman Reigns and go, you know what? You want to be a fighting champion? Fine, I'm cashing in. I'll see you in Hell in a Cell.
No, see, I think tomorrow Braun Strowman's going to be more concerned with Brock Lesnar. We know Brock Lesnar's announced for Raw tomorrow, so I think that Braun Strowman's going to beat the living shit out of Brock Lesnar and send him packing for a few months. We all know he's going to UFC, obviously, but kayfabe-wise, they're going to have Braun Strowman give him these hands, and I don't think that Roman Reigns' first defense will be against Braun Strowman. I think that Braun Strowman needs to cash in successfully, and I don't think that Roman's going to be a transitional champion. So I think that we won't get that cash in until Royal Rumble, possibly WrestleMania.
Don't think it'll be WrestleMania. Maybe even just after Mania.
Yeah,
have him hold it for the longest time.
Well, I could see Braun Strowman getting screwed out of the. I could see Braun Strowman getting screwed out of the Royal Rumble by someone like The Miz.
Yeah.
So that we can lead to a Miz Daniel Bryan world title match at WrestleMania for the main event.
Which needs to happen.
I could see him the next night on Raw after Royal Rumble. I could see Braun Strowman saying, I'm cashing in this contract for WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, that could work.
Because, like he said, he's not a coward. He's going to do it face to face.
Yeah.
I think something like that would be really fun.
Something else I just kind of remembered as well. Speaking of the cashing in and the briefcase, the launch that Lesnar got when throwing that briefcase to break the screen.
Oh, yeah. That was impressive.
Oh, I was so impressed with that. My first thought,
an Olympic discus
potentially. my first thought was, oh no, he's going to throw it into the crowd just like he did the car seat. But no, he actually got pinpoint accuracy and smashed the screen.
Dude, if I'm like recruiting for the American Olympic team, I'm hitting up Brock Lesnar's agent to see if he wants to
guarantee
do some discus, you know?
Yeah.
Because that was impressive. And he didn't even have to spin.
No, he's just kind of launched it. Like, that's what I was just kind of like, wow, that was just... And I think it even took the commentators by surprise.
He looked lackadaisical.
Yeah.
He looked lackadaisical. He didn't even look like he tried that hard.
This is just kind of alley-oop.
Yeah, maybe it's really light and we don't even realize it.
It probably is, hey.
It's like made of tin foil. It's all an illusion. But that was SummerSlam, and I think it was good. I know that I've ranted a little bit and I've really picked apart the things that were bad. But overall, we as human beings are wired so that for every one bad thing we experience, we need 8 good things to make up for it.
Pretty much.
Right? That's the way we're wired. There's been studies around this. I try to fight that as much as I can. And I know I've ranted a lot, but overall, SummerSlam was actually pretty good. I would have done it differently, and I think it would be better as a 3-hour show with all of the pre-show and pretty much the United States Championship match and the tag team title matches as main events on the TV shows instead of being on this show. And then you could have just had... Imagine this show if there was no pre-show, or if the pre-show was just a panel show that you could choose to watch or not. Imagine this show if it was just... Imagine if it was just Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler, Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Carmella, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Miz Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor and Baron Corbin for a break, then Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss and Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. That's a 4-hour show still. That's still 7 matches.
That's actually a better card than what we got.
Yeah, and it's just the stuff we got, but just taking all the crap out of it. And you could have a fun 4-hour show that everyone's invested in for the whole time and walks away saying, that was a really good show.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And then you don't have to repeat as much stuff on Raw and SmackDown because you've got a couple of main events to work to. I don't know.
I'm calling tonight on Raw, or today on Raw, sorry, and tomorrow on SmackDown, the decent third of the entire show is going to be recaps.
Yeah, they repeat everything. Yeah. And that's the problem with the amount of hours they have and the amount of talent they have. They don't have to be repeating everything. But, again, we're looking at the bad stuff again. Overall, the show was good. It really was. It really was. It was not a bad show. I'm just a bitter prick.
See, I'm the other way. I loved this. I loved SummerSlam. I think it was definitely one of the better pay-per-views of the year.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, it was definitely one of the better pay-per-views of the year. But yeah, I overall was really decent.
At the end of the day, if you only have 3 hours to watch wrestling, watch TakeOver and then watch Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, Miz and Daniel Bryan, and you're done for the weekend.
Pretty much.
If you still have 20 minutes to kill Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
That's all you need, really.
Yeah, that was pretty much... That was Brooklyn weekend in a nutshell.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot for joining us to break this down, CJ. Where can people find you?
Guys, you can find me on Facebook at CJ's World and on Instagram at CJ's_World. Go like, share, and subscribe.
I am Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are known as the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because...
B Plus Wrestling didn't fit.
That's what she said. Well, you just meant to say wrestling didn't fit. I don't know. That's what she said didn't really work. We are the B Plus Wrestling on Facebook, the B Plus on YouTube. We are on Spotify. We are taking over the globe. Like, share, subscribe. Drop us a 5-star review on iTunes to help us with the visibility. And thank you so much for listening.
Hold one. Arm drag.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
So, no speak English.
Dummy.
Goodbye and good night.
Hold two. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it. Dummy. Hold three. The moss covered. Three-handle family granunzo.